Hi, my name is Diane Richmond, and I am coming to you from the Culinary Underground, which is a school for home cooks in Southborough, Massachusetts. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make sweet potato spoon bread. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a sweet potato and we are going to get it ready to bake, and so we can cook it and mash it and use it in our recipe. The first thing you want to do is we need about a cup of mashed sweet potato, so a kind of a large sweet potato would be the best way to go. We're going to take this, we're going to get a fork, just regular fork, and we're going to prick it all over, like so. And then we're going to take a piece of foil and wrap it up, and we're going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees, and we're going to bake it in there for 45 to 50 minutes, roughly. If your sweet potato is a little smaller, it might take a little less. And you'll be able to tell if the sweet potato is done when you take a sharp knife and insert it into the potato, and it goes through very easily. If you hit a little hard area, that means you've got to put it back in and let it cook for a little while longer. So now we have our sweet potato that's been baked in the oven. I took it out, I let it cool for a little bit because of course you can't handle it when it's super hot, but it's actually easy to handle now. So what I like to do is just take it out of the foil. I'll just cut it into quarters. Cut the little end off here. Cut it into quarters, and that actually makes it easy to just peel the skin right off. As you can see, comes off very easily. Sweet potatoes are awesome for you. They are filled with beta carotene and vitamin A, vitamin E, and they're loaded with fiber. They're a great source of fiber, and they're actually really low in calories. So they're really a very healthy food. Now, we're going to offset the low in calories part by adding heavy cream to our dish. So, but at least we're starting with something a little healthier. So there you have that. Now we're going to mash them, which you don't have to go too crazy with the mashing because we are going to use a Cuisinart later on in the process, and that is going to really do the mashing for us. But I like to kind of just mush them up a little bit so they're easier to deal with. Now we've got these pretty well mashed, and they will be ready for later. We're going to come over to our stove, and we're going to make the custard base for this. And basically what we're going to do is, it is a cornmeal spoon bread, so we have a half a cup of cornmeal and a half a teaspoon of salt that we're just going to dump right in, quarter of a cup of brown sugar, 2 just cubed up tablespoons of butter, a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a half a teaspoon of cloves. And then we have our milk. We have a cup of whole milk. You can use lower fat if you want to, 2%, 1% skim even. But then you're going to throw in some heavy cream. We get a half a cup of that, and then a half a cup of water. So we got that all in there. We're going to turn our our stove on. Oops. How about this one? And you're going to cook this over like a medium heat for about 10 minutes. It takes about 10 minutes for the custard to kind of thicken. So now I've let my mixture cool for a little bit. You can put it in the refrigerator to kind of speed that up a bit. We need it to cool because there's eggs in our second part of the preparation here, and we don't want them to curdle. So now what I'm going to do is take this, actually come over here, and we're going to put our sweet potatoes in first. And we have a food processor that is big enough to hold all this. And what I actually like to do is pulse this a little bit with just the sweet potatoes to make sure that they get ground up fine. And once that's done, we're going to add 2 eggs. We have, I think it's 1/8 of a cup of honey. Sweeten it up a little bit. Whoop. We have 1/4 of a cup of maple syrup. And a half a teaspoon of baking powder. And then we're going to add in our custard. And since it's nice and cool, we don't have to worry about the eggs curdling, not curdling, but scrambling. So we got that in there. And we now just mix. You just want to mix it up enough till it's all uniform. Then we're going to take this off. I have here a buttered baking pan. This is 8 by 8 inches. Now I have reduced my oven temperature to 350, and this is going to be going into the oven for about 40 to 45 minutes, something like that. You want to check on it to see how it's looking, but it's roughly 40 to 45 minutes is about the time you're going to put it in for. So there it is in our pan, and we're ready to go. So here is our sweet potato spoon bread. It's just come out of the oven. As you can see, it's pulled away from the sides of the pan a little bit. It's golden brown on the top, and you probably have a little cracking, which is fine. That's sort of what happens with these things. And now we're going to serve it up for you. So traditionally, this is served with a spoon. Being spoon bread, you are not to cut this with a knife and slice it and put it onto a plate. It must be spooned out. So here we go. It has sort of a little bit of a pudding-like consistency, as you can see, and this looks delicious. I'm dying to try it. There we go. And there is our spoon bread.